Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and the Kansas City Royals are getting too close to the hot stove. We're literally seeing news constantly about the Kansas City Royals, constantly kind of giving feelers out there, talking about, hey, this starting pitcher's available, or hey, we're interested in maybe this outfielder, or hey, what do you think about this? You know, as the winter meetings are quickly approaching, it's going to be interesting to see these cases for trades really build up. And we're really kind of seeing some ideas put together. Now, this one that we're going to talk about specifically, I'm not a big fan of, and we'll obviously get into that. I think there are better options for making trades. I don't think we need to make rash trades from pulling from our starting rotation. Yes, we have dealt with some injuries. Yes, there have been times where you're like, that guy could be expendable if we could really get a power bat. But in my opinion, some of these guys have to be locks in your rotation. So we're going to jump in and really talk about this hot stove trade discussion that really kind of came out of left field. A revealing set of comments that sent ripples through the Kansas City Royals kind of social media. Boston Globe reporter Alex Spire detailed the Kansas City Royals' growing openness to dealing from their starting rotation in exchange for outfield help. Now, we know the Kansas City Royals have been tied to Boston multiple times, not only in this offseason, but really kind of around the trade deadline last year. One of the biggest discussions was for Jarren Duran, and we've talked about that multiple times on this channel. Now, I think really the Boston Red Sox went ahead and made a move by going and getting Sonny Gray. Now, does that mean that their offseason's over? No. And it doesn't mean that they're done adding to their starting rotation, which is probably why this continues to kind of evolve in discussions. But I think now the Kansas City Royals obviously aren't necessarily at a disadvantage with the Red Sox, but I don't think that things are necessarily lining up as we're seeing. They're really wanting certain guys, and we're not obviously wanting to surrender certain guys in every situation. And so we'll kind of dive into this a little bit more. So according to Spire, the Royals are not only willing to talk, they're making it clear that no starter is officially off limits. Well, we'll talk about that too. Royals general manager J.J. Picollo underscored the reality when discussing the club's approach to the trade market. And I think before we get too much more into that, they have to be more open to trades because the Kansas City Royals aren't going to go out and sign those monster free agents. So they're going to have to really play the trade market well, which I think J.J. Picollo, historically in his minimal tenure, has proven he's done really well with trades. So I'm sure he's really focusing on what is going to be best approach for this team. Now, with pitching demand at an all-time high across the league, Kansas City recognizes it holds a valuable form of currency. And that was something at the very end, right before Dayton Moore left. Dayton Moore always mentioned how pitching is the currency of baseball. And I think that's even elevated more. You're seeing how significantly important it is to have an all-around, not only deep farm system when it comes to pitching, but also major league talent and major league ready talent. A lot of teams are looking for starting pitchers, Picollo said. So if we have what they may be interested in, and they have an outfielder that would be of interest, then there's potentially the opportunity to make a deal. Now, Cole Regans is one of the ones that really was highlighted in this, and there was even a picture of Cole Regans, which I'll post here, of him being in a Boston Red Sox uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, that made me sick. And the reason is because I feel Cole Regans deserves to be in a Kansas City Royals uniform. He's giving you a significant year as a starting rotation pitcher. He obviously got injured and dealt with some things last year. You wanted to kind of take precautions since he's had multiple Tommy John surgeries. So you kind of wanted to, slow work that along. But Cole Regans, ladies and gentlemen, I believe he's 27 years old. He's an ace. He's a left-hander. we know what he's capable of doing when he's locked in. So much of the buzz naturally centers around ace left-hander Cole Regans, one of the most electric breakout starters in baseball. He came over in the trade from the Texas Rangers when we sent Aroldis Chapman and were able to acquire Cole Regans. His combination of age, upside, and elite swing and miss stuff makes him the kind of player front offices covet, and that kind of contenders try to desperately pry away. Cole Regans recently signed a 3-year, $13,250,000 contract with the Kansas City Royals, including a $250,000 signing bonus, which makes $13,250,000 guaranteed, which comes out to an average annual salary of $4,416,667. Really what this did is it eliminated majority of his arbitration years. I do believe he'll have one arbitration year left before he is able to become a free agent, which would be 2029, and that would be his age 31 season. Piccolo's stance, Kansas City isn't shutting the door, but it isn't opening it wide either, and I think that is the key statement. I don't think that they need to go make a trade using Cole Regans to go get a Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran, to me, is a great outfielder. But to me, a guy that you would give up for Jarren Duran, certain teams, certain GMs, certain scouts, however you look at it, value players completely different. And I think for me, where the Royals are currently sitting at with, again, having a currency in baseball, I don't think that they need to surrender a guy like Cole Regans to the Boston Red Sox just to go acquire a Jarren Duran. Yes, he would be a huge upgrade. He would probably be able to be a leadoff guy. He would be able to play a position that you're in need of. But at the same time, you don't want to decimate a rotation where we saw the entire rotation at some point hit the injured list. And you need depth at your starting rotation. Are they going to have to deal from the starting rotation in order to acquire a bat like this %? But I don't think Regans is the answer. And I don't think that that's necessarily where this article was going. I think that they just know that they're really interested in Cole Regans. I mean, this is the same group, the Boston Red Sox fan base, who really wanted to pry Vinny Pasquantino from the Kansas City Royals for a guy like Jarren Duran and maybe some other pieces. That's insane to me. And so, obviously, the Royals are a smaller market. They need to keep these types of players around. Now, I would be 100% on board for trading a Kris Bubic for a Jarren Duran, and the reason is because Kris Bubic is probably going to sign a massive contract if he has a successful year. If he doesn't get traded this offseason, he's going to have a successful year, and then he's going to go sign a massive contract that the Kansas City Royals just cannot afford. So he's more of a trade option because of those things. He's a little bit younger. He obviously provides you a little bit more, longevity compared to Regans, who's already 27. But Regans is locked up at least until he's 31. So to me, it makes more sense to deal from a Kris Bubic standpoint. And I think that's another reason why they're not as adamant on moving guys like Michael Wacha or Seth Lugo, which we'll talk about. And so Piccolo's stance, Kansas City isn't shutting the door like we said, and it's not kicked wide open either. Piccolo went ahead and said, I wouldn't say off limits. Piccolo acknowledged when asked specifically whether Regans or anyone was untouchable, still the GM made it clear that a deal involving Regans would require a massive return. As Spires characterized it, there would have to be a really big return for one starter in particular. There's no question, that starter is Regans without a doubt. So veterans Lugo and Wacha less likely to be moved, and the reason is because they both signed deals, and they both are going to be Kansas City Royals. Seth Lugo recently just signed a monster deal with the Royals, and obviously was going to be a huge free agent potential option, but they were able to lock him up. Michael Wacha, I do believe, is going to be around for a little bit as well. Cole reportedly expressed reluctancy to part with veteran innings eaters Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, both of whom played important roles, stabilizing the rotation last season, and obviously the year before that. I mean, Seth Lugo was in the running for the Cy Young there for a while. Their contracts, experience, and reliability make them valuable both in Kansas City and to other teams. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Just not valuable enough. It seems to justify losing their leadership and consistency. One of the things I want to underscore there is leadership. I think that has been a massive piece for this Kansas City Royals rotation is the fact that these two guys continue to show and create a culture within the pitching staff. We see them huddle around, meet after every start. It doesn't matter who's on the bump. They're going to huddle and discuss how those went, things they've learned, things that they could work on. We see it night in and night out. And so I think the leadership piece is really what is helping in this case. The Royals' willingness to discuss them appears limited compared to the broader field of their pitching staff. And I think the biggest thing, and we know this, is that the Kansas City Royals are in desperate need for outfield help. And so targeting an outfielder, but not locked into one profile. One of the most intriguing pieces from Spire's analysis is Kansas City's flexibility in the type of outfielder they're pursuing. While the Royals prefer a right-handed bat, they're not limiting themselves to that target. See, and that's where it they would prefer a right-handed bat because they're pretty heavy with the left side. I mean, you got Vinny Pasquantino's a lefty. You got Jack Caglione, who is a lefty. And so you're really kind of heavy in the power category on that left side. Salvador Perez, obviously a righty. Bobby Witt Jr. is obviously a righty. Jonathan India is a righty. You do have Michael Massey from the left side, but Maikel Garcia is a righty. And so Kyle Isbell, I believe, is a lefty. And so we could keep going, but I really think that they are missing a right-handed bat. Now, should they be specific to that? I don't necessarily think so. I think they need to really focus on who can produce runs, who can hit the home runs, who can hit the gaps, and who can play decent outfield. To me, that's because he's not playing a premier spot unless you go get a guy like Joe Adell, who's going to be ranging a premier spot in center field. And so I really think that's what you're looking at. Who is going to provide at the plate at a consistent basis in the areas that we need to improve on the most. And so I really think that that's where they're at. So we really talked about that. The detail is especially notable given Kansas City's strong interest at the trade deadline in the Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran, who bats left-handed but brings the kind of premium athleticism, speed, and emerging offense production the Royals covet. If that interest persists into the offseason, which it has, Kansas City could be a sneaky match with Boston, which, Spire notes, continues to explore upgrades to its own pitching staff. And I think that we've kind of done that after we went and traded Freddie Fermin for those stretch of guys. We've also got Bailey Falter, who I think really needs to focus on developing a little bit more, but he's also an option if injuries were to occur. There are some younger guys that are still kind of developing and becoming what they are. So there's a lot of options. Like we've stated multiple times in this video, the Royals have the currency of baseball. A rare window for a blockbuster. Kansas City's openness creates a fascinating dynamic. With the starting pitching market thin, prices rising, a club willing to deal quality rotation arms, especially one with the potential frontline talent like Regans, instantly becomes a central player in the offseason speculation, which they have. Whether the Royals ultimately pull the trigger remains to be seen, and we've not seen that yet. There's still a decent amount of offseason. But one thing is certain, Kansas City is signaling flexibility, and I think that, to me, is one of the most important things. They're constantly kind of being discussed around the hot stove. They're constantly being discussed about making a move, a massive move like this, and we know that they need to make the move. And so really kind of finishing out this, I went back and I tried so hard to find it. I should have taken the picture when I saw it initially, but Vinny Pasquantino was taking BP with Brendan Donovan, the St. Louis Cardinals talent, and plays second base, plays outfield, is an extremely solid hitter at the plate. And I wish I could have found that. I think obviously he's just teasing the fan bases. He's very in tune with social media. He's obviously gone and conducted interviews and kind of has become a media person in a way. So I'm excited to see the evolution of Vinny Pasquantino in that. So he really understands by just snapping that photo how the excitement it could bring Kansas City. Do I think that anything's happening right now? No, I think he was just probably taking batting practice, or they happen to be in the same facility at the same time. But it just really kind of sparked a lot of excitement around it. And so we'll have to see. That would be, to me, one that the Kansas City Royals should go after. He has the ability to play outfield. He has the flexibility to really, if he needs to, in a pinch, come into the infield. But I think he's probably an option the Kansas City Royals would really covet. And I think the St. Louis Cardinals, who kind of are in a rebuild still, would be very interested in some of these starting rotations, specifically dealing off a guy like Sonny Gray. So that almost makes them even more of an option with the starting pitcher. So we will be wrapping up this video. I appreciate y'all checking it out. I really can't thank y'all enough for the support on this channel for the Kansas City Royals. The offseason is kind of just beginning. We're kind of getting through it, and it's been an exciting ride so far. I appreciate all the support. Let's keep this thing rolling. I end every video the exact same way. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, comment down below, and have a good day.